Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another Pokemon TCG video. Today we're going to revisit one of the classic deck types in the Pokemon TCG. Been around for about 2 years now, and that's going to be a Team Plasma deck. Now, Team Plasma decks didn't lose a whole lot from the rotation. Boundaries crossed on. There are a few cards they lost. The biggest one would be that Prism Energy that gave your basic Pokemon pretty much freedom to use all their attacks, since we have so many different types of Pokemon in the deck. However, we do still have Rainbow, so the deck can still work fairly well. I would say the Kyurem-based Plasma decks are going to struggle a little bit more, but the Lugia-based ones are going to be just fine. So that's what we're going to look at today. This deck's going to revolve around this big guy, Lugia EX. So it has the ability Overflow. Basically, if you knock out a Pokemon with Lugia's attack, you take an extra prize, and that's awesome. If you knock out a Pokemon EX, instead of 2 prizes, you get 3 prizes at once, and that's just an incredible ability. Theoretically, you could win the game in 2 attacks, knocking out 2 Pokemon EX. That's just 6 prizes in 2 attacks, and that is the appeal of Lugia. That's the appeal of this kind of a deck. Plasma Gale does 120 damage for 4 colorless energy, and then you have to discard a Plasma Energy, or else it doesn't do anything. So there are some drawbacks here. And 120 isn't enough to knock out most Pokemon EX, but we have ways to get there. Right? We have Deoxys EX, the ability Power Connect. Gives your Team Plasma Pokemon an extra 10 damage every time they attack. Doesn't count itself, of course, which is probably a good thing, otherwise Deoxys would be ridiculous. But if we get 3-4 of these Deoxys EX in play, all of a sudden Lugia is doing 150, 160 damage, and then we have Muscle Band, which means Lugia can do 20 more, adding up to 170 or 180 damage. And that means we can even knock out Pokemon EX in one hit with Plasma Gale, and that's where this deck is extremely powerful. Just being able to take big chunks of prizes very quickly is incredible, and this deck is more explosive than any other deck in the game. That's what I think. Alright, so the strategy is pretty simple. Power up Lugia, get a bunch of Deoxys out, get a Muscle Band, and try to take your prizes as quickly as possible. Now, if we get a Lugia knocked out, Thundurus EX is a great recovery Pokemon. We have Raiden Knuckle does 30, and then you get an energy out of the discard, put it on your bench Team Plasma Pokemon, so you can do some damage, and then power up a new Pokemon. So Thundurus is a great support Pokemon, but the damage actually adds up pretty well on this Pokemon as well. 30, if you get some Deoxys out there, you can get up to 60, and then a Muscle Band, you can start doing 80 damage for a single energy. And it can get out of hand pretty quickly, especially against things that are weak to Lightning. This was a great card against Yveltal EX, and it still will be. Just being able to do huge chunks of damage for that one energy. Now, one of the biggest problems with this kind of a deck is that pesky Pyroar. That intimidating main pretty much neutralizes this entire deck. Right? We have all basic Pokemon and no easy way to knock it out. So, this deck can also benefit from the new Beartic. So Beartic, we've featured this a few times already. It's just an easy to splash in Pokemon, right? It only costs 2 colorless energy, nice beefy 130 HP on a stage 1, and it gets the job done. It knocks out Pyroar, and it has 130 HP, so Pyroar won't be able to really knock it out in one hit right back. And also, it's very good against Landorus EX, which can also pose some problems for this deck. 180 HP is very difficult for Lugia to hit. We need all 4 Deoxys on the bench, along with the Muscle Band, so 180 HP Pokemon EX like Landorus EX can pose big problems, especially if we start off with Thundurus EX, who is weak to fighting. So Beartic is a great fit in this deck for multiple reasons. Just fills in as our Pyroar counter, fills in the hole against Landorus EX, and it's an all-around good non-EX attacker. So Beartic is a great Pokemon to add into this deck. We just have a 2-2 line here. That's really all we need. So this deck is going to be very straightforward, very simple. 4 Colress Machine, try to get those Plasma Energy in play as quickly as possible. And then we've got 4 Muscle Band, we just want to make sure we draw these cards right away. 3 Ultra Ball, and then 1 Team Plasma Ball to be able to search out our Pokemon. And then we have 2 Startling Megaphone, since Garbodor is a big pain against this kind of a deck. Right, we need to get our abilities and get our Power Connect in our Overflow back. So Startling Megaphone, very important in this kind of a deck. We also have, a couple switching cards, 2 Switch, and 1 Escape Rope, since we do need to switch out our heavy retreaters sometimes. And then we have our supporters. 4 Professor Juniper is pretty much a given. This is a very aggressive deck, so we want to be drawing lots of cards. And then we also have only 3 N in this deck. Now, most decks play 4 N, but again, this is a very aggressive deck, and it's not uncommon to take 3 prizes by the second or third turn. So N becomes actually a pretty poor draw card in this kind of a deck after the first few turns. So you actually only want to run 3. It's great in your opening hand, so we still want to run 3 of them, and it's great for making comebacks. So we do still want to run N, but we don't want to run 4 like other decks would. Instead, we're actually going to use that 4th spot for a Shauna. It's shuffle in and draw 5. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's better than shuffle in and draw 3. So we're going to run a Shauna in place of that 4th N. 3 Colress. The benches get big with this deck. So Colress, a very explosive draw card. And then 2 Skyla. You can just search out any trainer card we want. And we're also going to do 1 Bicycle. Just great with Skyla sometimes. Gives you a little extra draw power. I do like a Bicycle in here. We see a lot of people run 4 Roller Skates in this kind of a deck, and lots of Bicycles. But I think that's actually a lot weaker now that Seismitoad EX is in the format. If they get a quick Quaking Punch off against you, you can't play your Roller Skates or your Bicycle anymore. So I would favor more supporter-based draw cards nowadays. We also have our A-Spec card, Computer Search. I think this is just the best one for the deck. Just allows you to be allows you to be more consistent and get those quick starts. Computer Search for a Colress Machine, a Double Colorless Energy, a Muscle Band, whatever you need to get those quick knockouts going, Computer Search gets that for you. Now, if there was one good thing about the rotation for this deck, it's the loss of Enhanced Hammer. Plasma decks for the longest time were very vulnerable to Enhanced Hammer, since you rely so much on your special energy. I mean, case in point, let's look at this. We have 4 Double Colorless, 4 Plasma, 4 Rainbow. Enhanced Hammer can slow us down, especially after using Plasma Gale, right? We'd usually have a Double Colorless, an Energy, and a Plasma Energy. Then we'd have to discard the Plasma, so we'd go down to 3 Energy, and then usually there'd be an Enhanced Hammer to discard the Double Colorless, so we'd be down to 1 Energy, and that just sets you back so much. Now we don't have to worry about Enhanced Hammer at all, which makes this deck a lot more powerful, I think. Much more difficult to slow down. So the loss of Prism Energy kind of balanced out by, well, the loss of Enhanced Hammer in the format. That's why I think Team Plasma decks are still going to be pretty strong. Now, in the past we would run like 4 Prism Energy and then some other stuff. Since we don't have Prism anymore, we are running Rainbow. There is the drawback of hurting yourself with the Rainbow, but I think it's very much so worth it, just so we can attack with all of our different attackers, mainly Thundurus and Deoxys would be our 2 main ones, right? We can Ride Knuckle, and then we can also Helix Force with Deoxys EX. A lot of people forget about this guy. 30 plus 30 for each energy they have, if you have a Plasma Energy attached. Just very good in general against things that get a bunch of energy on them, especially those Psychic Weak Pokemon like Mewtwo EX and Lucario EX. Those are things we'll have to watch out for. So our last energy, we're going to have 1 Lightning and then actually 1 Psychic as well, just to power up our attackers. So again, pretty simple deck. We also have 2 Lysander for our last couple supporters in order to target things down and knock them out. So I do like this deck. It's a lot of fun to play, right? It's going to be very explosive and a very powerful one as well. So Team Plasma decks, I don't think they will be going anywhere. Just seems like no matter what happens, they are part of the format, and we just kind of have to deal with it. So let's check out a game I played on Pokemon TCG Online and see our Team Plasma deck in action. I'm sure at this point, pretty much everybody has seen a Team Plasma deck in play, right? We see it all the time. We've seen it for the past few years, so it's not going to be anything spectacular, but, I just want to play a game and show that it works, even with the bear tick and whatnot. And speaking of bear tick, look at that. My opponent opens up with a Cubchoo. Also saw a Plasma Energy from my opponent, so I'll have to see what he's playing. Probably another Team Plasma deck. But we see a Virizion EX coming out. So that actually could be a Virizion Genesect deck. And there we do see the Hypnotoxic Laser. Float Stone going on to the active Cubchoo. And this looks like a Virizion Genesect deck. Now, I hate Hypnotoxic Laser, and that's exactly why. Gonna go ahead and start off the game with a bang by going to sleep. And now that'll take away my option to maybe Skyla for a Colress machine and use Helix Force. That probably wasn't a good option anyway, though, right? I just would rather Skyla for a better supporter in this situation. And then we'll just go ahead and drop a Psychic on the active and pass the turn. So not a very good start by any means from me. You would love to get, on the first turn, get like a Lugia down, get a couple more Deoxys, start powering up your Lugia EX so that you can get a big Plasma Gale going, but no, it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening here. But we do see a Karina from my opponent. Boy, what is going on here? This is an unusual mix of cards, certainly. We see the Shout of Power Landorus, and then a Team Plasma Ball for a Genesect EX. So I'm guessing it's still a Virizion Genesect deck, but there's some crazy stuff in here. We see Keldeo and Floatstone as well. Don't usually see that in Virizion Genesect. So this will be interesting. I really don't know what to expect. There is a lot of space to play with in Virizion Genesect decks, though, so sometimes they can afford to run all these crazy things. And there we do see Landorus coming down, and there's the Emerald Slash. So it's 50, and then we'll get 2 Grass Energy on the bench. Right onto that Genesect EX. It's going to be a little bit of a pain, but oh well. So I do top deck a Lugia EX for the turn. And I do have a Plasma Energy. I'll just go ahead and drop that down onto the Lugia. I'm going to end. I might want to just hold on and see if I get a DCE and do that instead. But, we'll just do the Plasma Energy. I just want to make sure I at least get an attachment off because, boy, missing an attachment there is pretty bad. I will Escape Rope here, just trying to get my Deoxys out of the active position. I want to save it so I have enough of them in play to use that Power Connect and get a big one-hit knockout with Lugia. And then I'm just going to pass the turn. You would think, why wouldn't you just Colress Machine there, get another energy onto Lugia? Well, if my opponent goes with a red signal from Genesect and then a G booster, he could just wipe out the Lugia and then wipe out 2 Plasma Energy. And that's not what I want to see happen. I want to be able to use those Plasma Energy so I can Plasma Gale for knockouts. You only get 4 of them. You can recover them with Ride Knuckle, but oh well. I don't really want to be doing that. We want to save them if we can. But we do see the red signal. We do see Deoxys EX being brought up. And that means, oh man, the Hypnotoxic Laser damage is going to add up with that Emerald Slash before. And we will see a Megalo Cannon for a knockout. 100 damage and then 20 to the Cubchoo. So I am pretty far behind in this game right now. Hopefully we can make it up right here, though. Top deck the Muscle Band. That's huge. Going to get the Colress Machine onto the Lugia and a DCE. And then we'll have a Colress for 6. I need 2 more Deoxys to get a knockout here. And that would be a huge play in the game, but nope. Just a Plasma Gale for 150. And I think that is the most demoralizing thing in the world. When you Plasma Gale and you're just 10 or 20 short. Because you have to discard the Plasma Energy. You have to use your attack. It always feels like a waste when you Plasma Gale and don't get a knockout. It's the worst. So here we're going to see a Skyla. And oh no, here comes the G Booster. And this is all sorts of trouble. G Booster going down onto the Genesect. And there goes my Lugia. Kaboom. It will evaporate get disintegrated by that G Booster. My card might actually light on fire because of the G Booster. But 200 damage will knock me out. We see a Deoxys EX come out as well. So actually 210 damage, sorry. And here, you know what? Genesect only has 10 HP left. So let's go for it. I'm going to promote the Cubchoo, drop down the DCE, and let's hope to draw a Beartic. Going to end my opponent down to 2. I'll draw 6 cards. And oof, okay, we got the Ultra Ball. So we can go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of a Rainbow, and I don't know, Startling Megaphone. I mean, I already got rid of the G Booster once. Could get rid of Lysander, but this might be useful. But I am just happy I got Beartic. So we'll go ahead and get him out there. Get the other Deoxys. Bicycle for a couple cards. Chorus Machine, not going to play it. And then we'll go ahead with the Igloo Hold and get the knockout for 40 damage on Genesect. Take that, buddy. Igloo Hold finishing off the Genesect where Lugia couldn't really get the job done. But from here, this looks pretty miserable. I have no energy in play besides the one. On Beartic, I just got N down to 4 cards to make my hand absolutely terrible. And yeah, I just don't have much of anything going. Fortunately, we took away anything my opponent had going. So there's that silver lining here. All that's powered up is Virizion EX. And it's only doing 50 at a time, so I mean, there's that, I guess, but otherwise, this is just not pretty by any means, and we're still going to have to try to find something to do here. I do get a third Deoxys EX down on the board. I have an Ultra Ball, but playing Ultra Ball here would be discarding a lot of stuff, and I don't know if I want to be doing that. I guess we'll go ahead and do it, though. Odds are Beartic gets knocked out, so I'm going to grab Thunderous EX. I think I had both of those prized, so kind of unfortunate. But at least I got one off the prize, so now I can get one. I just want to have him benched. If Beartic gets knocked out, then I have something to promote, and then I can start attacking and then powering up something else. So, yeah, it seems like this is awful. But again, my opponent's going to end me up to 4 cards, so maybe not so awful. But hey, actually, that's pretty good for me. I'm not sure why my opponent did that. What? The Beartic actually survives? What is going on here? Beartic survived another turn. So that is the manliest Beartic of all time. Surviving 2 Emerald Slashes. Knocking out a Genesect. Living to tell the tale. So I will get a switch here. We'll go ahead and switch into the Thunderous EX after getting the Professor Juniper going. And now I can computer search. We're going to go ahead and discard. I don't know. I want to get a Lugia EX into play, obviously. I'm just checking to see how many rainbows I've gone through. It's unfortunate that the active has one. There's already 2 in the discard. So I'm going to discard Skyla. And then I think I should have a Plasma Energy left. But oh well, we're just going to discard the Rainbow. I don't see myself having to use Helix Force here. And it looks like we have no Plasma Energy left in the deck. Whoops. Could have discarded Chorus Machine. My bad. This is where knowing the contents of your deck pays off big time. But oh well. Let's go ahead with the Ride Knuckle for 60. We'll go ahead and get the DC onto the Lugia EX. And go from here. Alright, so this is going to be our key to coming back. Getting this Lugia powered up. We still have 3 Deoxys EX left. My opponent still said take 2 prizes. No real threat powered up. So there's still a chance, right? We still have a good chance to win the game. It's not an ideal situation by any means, but we have a chance, and that's all I can ask for after my horrible opening couple turns. The Deoxys goes down like turn 3. Lugia gets a G booster turn 4. I mean, what else can you ask for on my opponent's side. We do see a Shout of Power for 40 damage. So it looks like that'll power up Genesect on the bench. Oh man, that's not looking good. But, well, let's see what we can do here. I'm going to go ahead and get the Plasma Energy onto the Lugia. And then, let's see. I could Muscle Band onto the Beartic and Igloo Hold. That would knock out this Landorus here, but I don't know if that's really worth it. I'm actually just going to Juniper, trying to draw some better stuff, and then we'll Ultra Ball away the other Cubchoo and Beartic, just to get those out of the deck. And then we'll do a little bit of a risky move here. We will use Ride Knuckle, but I think this is worth it. My opponent would need multiple cards to get a knockout with a one-card hand and not playing, well, played a Shadow Triad before. So here I will take the risk, whatever. If I lose, then so be it. Right? We are behind, need to take a bit of a risk here, and we'll just roll with it. We do have Lysander, we do have a Lugia fully powered up, only 4 prizes to go, so this is certainly in reach. We can still win this game. It's going to be an uphill battle, but we can win the game. We got Lugia powered up. G-Booster is in the discard pile along with the Shadow Triad, so there's no easy way for my opponent to knock out an EX. We will see a Red Signal, bringing out the Beartic. Not sure how much I agree with that, taking the 1 prize here. Not really going to do much for my opponent, but maybe he just really wants to get a prize. Maybe Shadow Triad is prized, and he just wants to get that game-winning G-Booster. But perhaps Shout of Power, just hitting the active would have been a little better. But, hey, I am going to take that, and I'm not going to complain at all. We will Lysander here, bring out that Genesect EX. And this means I'll be able to Plasma Gale for 3 prizes. And, man, we're starting to make a big comeback here. Plasma Gale, I don't want to attach another energy here, because if I do, I walk into a Deoxys EX Helix Force with a Hypnotoxic Laser, and I don't want that to happen. So even though I open myself up to an end to 1, I mean, look at my hand. I have 3 supporters and 3 things that get energy. And then, I mean, the odds are I'm going to redraw at least an energy to win the game. There's the end to 1, though. But again, I didn't want to walk into a Plasma Energy and a Hypnotoxic Laser from the Deoxys. If I have 4 energy on Lugia, Helix Force would have knocked me out. So instead, I guess it's a risk not playing the energy, because I didn't get an energy off the end to 1, but we're both at 1 card. This is a crazy endgame sequence. I have no idea who is going to win this game. We just see the Shout of Power, and will I top deck the energy to Plasma Gale for the game after this crazy turn of events? And, well, Muscle Band, that's not an energy, but actually, Landorus already has damage on it, so let's just retreat and then Ride Knuckle for 80 damage with the Muscle Band, and that's going to be the game. So, I don't know what to tell you. I was really far down in this game, and you just see the power of Lugia there, just a couple attacks, and boom, you're back in business, taking 3 prizes in chunks, just a big knockout on a Genesect, and that's really all you need. So, Team Plasma decks are as strong as ever. I don't see them going away anytime soon. So just wanted to cover it once again to show it is alive and well. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. I will certainly have some more for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I'll see you guys next time.